And if you are in sales, you probably are or have been in a situation where you somehow struggle to communicate the value that you will bring to the table for your customer. How to quantify the value or impact of your offering. Maybe you have been able to prove that ROI and still find that the customer doesn't want to go ahead with your offering and is not motivated to move forward for some reason which you can't quite understand. And if you're not proving value to the customer and to the person, chances are you will be under pressure to discount. Your customers will always be haggling down the price of your solution, which in the end is not ideal because it will hit your revenue and your bottom line. And the problem is, if this continues for too long, you could continue to work on opportunities that won't close simply because the prospect doesn't think that the cost of your solution is worth it, or because perhaps it goes against their personal motivations, right? There's nothing in it for them to move forward. But there's also another possibility where you can demonstrate undeniable business value for your clients, where you can easily understand their personal motivations and actually articulate what's in it for them and motivate them as a person to move forward. And by doing this, you will avoid discounting and eventually qualify better, close more deals, and also close higher deals because they will see more value, more ROI in working with you and implementing your solution. Right, so there's two steps that we are going to have to take today. Basically, the objective for today is take a couple of steps. And how are we going to do this? First, we're going to try and uncover the personal value. Yeah. And then the second step that we actually need to take here is uncover the business value. It doesn't matter in which order you actually do that. So value for the business is actually the quantification of solving their problems and helping your client achieve their objective, right? So it would be the quantification in financial terms. Yeah, so it was basically money. Yeah, that's the business value. And the value for the individual or the person that you're selling to, remember, you sell to people in organizations. We don't sell to organizations or ethereal identities. So the value for that individual that you're selling to is basically the impact of solving the problems that they have and also achieving the financial, the objective that he has been tasked with in the organization for that specific individual. Simply put, it's basically what's in it for him, what's in it for him or her. What are they getting on a personal basis out of engaging with you, out of implementing your solution. So personal value for this specific individual, yeah, it would be what we call what's in it for me. It's W2FM, which is, as you probably have heard, it's everybody's favorite radio station. Yeah. So what we need to do in order to uncover value is basically identify that personal value and identify that business value, and then the combination of those two will be the impact on the impact of your solution from both a personal and financial perspective. Right. So one question people always ask is, what's more important, the business value or the personal value? And actually, loads of people believe that business value is the most important thing, but it actually isn't. The most important thing is the personal value. And I'll tell you why. So basically, people won't move or won't go ahead their personal motivations. Yeah. So people will not take decisions that go against their personal motivations or their objectives. And it doesn't matter how much value you prove to the organization, if these people perceive some sort of threat, or if they believe that they're going to be worse off by implementing your solution, they still won't buy. And it doesn't matter how much ROI is in there. So you can actually close a deal if you identify the personal value for your customer and completely ignore the value for the business. But the opposite doesn't actually happen. You could actually lose a deal even if you have uncovered ROI, even if you've been able to demonstrate ROI for the business. If you don't know the personal motivations, what's in it for them, and if you don't know this personal motivation, or if you completely ignore it, then you won't close that deal. It's very likely that you won't close that deal. So it's always more important. Personal value is always more important than business value, right? And there is some crazy formula that demonstrates this, but I'm not going to go into the mathematical aspects of this. But basically, the idea is personal value is the thing that's most important, and that we need to try and find out when we talk to our customers. And so that's precisely what we're going to try and achieve in this session today. So we're going to talk about building value for the business. We're going to talk about building value for the individual, how we do those things, and how we build value for the individual has a lot to do with questions that you need to ask to try and uncover, and how you go about asking those questions without alienating your contact and without getting into a sticky situation. And also for the business value, we're going to see and create a real business value ROI calculator that we're going to use in our conversations for prospects, with prospects. And this is going to help us in many ways. Yeah. So this business value calculator could help us to gain access to decision makers. It could help us to generate leads. We can use it in many different ways, as we're going to see in a moment. So building value for the business. So we said that there's 4 things mainly that businesses care about. Yeah. So there's one of them is revenue. Another one is cost. The third one is operational efficiency. And the last one would be a risk. So if you can demonstrate that your solution can increase revenue, decrease cost, increase operational efficiency, and or decrease risk, then there will be value for the business in financial terms, always. Now, what happens with individuals? It's quite different what people care about. Of course, we care about money, yeah. Everybody cares about money, but this is not always the most important thing for most people. Yeah. So what else do people care about? So they care about status. They care about self-perception. And they care about security. So that's what we care about. Yeah. So some people are driven by getting more money. Some people are driven for getting a higher status in society and their organizations. Some people want to be perceived as leaders, or they just want to be perceived as something else. And some other people value most security, looking after their people, looking after themselves, being safe. And depending on where you are and what type of person you are and where you live, then you will have some preference or other different preferences. But basically, these four things is what dictate value for an individual. And it's also, as we said before, everyone's favorite radio station, W2FM, what's in it for me, right?